Hi everybody, welcome to Fire Pit Friday. I'm really glad that you could join me today. I would love to read a book to you on this Fire Pit Friday. So let me grab my adventure pack and let me grab a book. I'll get it out of this pouch. This is not my book, but it is a bandana that I love. It's a clouds chart bandana. It has cumulus clouds and cirrus clouds and stratus clouds, all different kinds of clouds on it. My cousin got me this bandana. I love that bandana. Well, this is not a book either. These are my swimming goggles. And this reminds me of summer. Summer is coming up. Do you think we'll be able to swim this summer? I hope so. I bet we will. Well, let me take a look at this part of my pouch. Yep, that has the books in it. I want to show you this part first because I love this snack. My boss has got me this snack. It's a grass-fed beef stick. They know I like healthy food. Wasn't that nice of them? And, oh, well, I have this Peak tea. And what it is, it's tea powder. And you just pour that in your hot water and you have hot tea ready to go. I always have hot tea. I love tea. So here's where my books are. Oh, but wait. Always have your adventure hat. It's gonna be summer soon, and so we're gonna need this because really soon it's gonna be very hot. But we wanna be outside. That's the healthy place to be, getting some sunshine. And when you're out in the sunshine, take your binoculars with you. You never know what you're gonna end up seeing out there. Spot some nature. Or maybe some nature that you'll spot would be one of these birds. I'd like to introduce you to a bird today. This bird, before I show it to you, let me give you a hint. I feast on fermented berries until I'm quite full. I have a crest on my head, so I look really cool. Interesting. I wonder which bird that is. This bird, the sound on this recording is kind of interesting. It sounds really echoey. Thank you, Mr. Miller.
You're welcome.
When I hear these birds fly by, usually it's in a flock. They're a small brown bird, and it sounds something like, you'll hear it maybe with this. Do you have any guesses? The bird I want to show you is a Cedar Waxwing. Cedar Waxwing. Bombycilla cedrorum. That's its scientific name, its Latin name. Bombycilla cedrorum. Now, I like that scientific name a lot. It reminds me of maybe a bird dive bombing you or something, the Bombycilla. But the Bombycilla doesn't mean that at all. What it really means is silky tail. They have these sweet silky tails. And then the cedrorum means of the cedars. Cedar is a type of tree. So they like cedar trees. So the Cedar Waxwing. And one thing about it, like I said, it's usually in flocks that they're flying. And they have usually some red tips on the bottom of their wings. And that's one of the reasons why they're called a waxwing, because that tip looks like it's been dipped in that red wax. Cedar Waxwing. I really enjoy those birds. They're a sweet bird. Well, let me see what books I have. Let me pull them out here. Okay, I have a few options. One is called Farmer's Market. I love Farmer's Market. Let's see, another one is called Luna and Me. My friend Noelle Solly has introduced me to this book. We'll read that sometime for sure. Well, Pumpkin Runner keeps coming up, doesn't it? I think I'll read that to you in the fall when pumpkins start to get ripe. I think what I'll read to you today is called It Could Always Be Worse by Margot Zemach. It could always be worse. It kind of reminds me of the current situation that we're in. What we need to do is be grateful for everything we have and be kind to the people around us, because it could always be worse. Let's take a look at it. Once upon a time, in a small village, a poor, unfortunate man lived with his mother, his wife, and his 6 children in a little one-room hut. Because they were so overcrowded, the man and his wife often argued. The children were noisy and they fought. In winter, when the nights were long and the days were cold, life was especially hard. The hut was full of crying and quarreling. One day, the poor unfortunate man couldn't stand it anymore, and he ran to the rabbi for advice. "Holy Rabbi," he cried, things are in a bad way with me and getting worse. We are so poor that my mother, my wife, my 6 children, and I all live together in one small hut. We are too crowded, and there's so much noise. Help me, Rabbi. I'll do whatever you say. The rabbi thought and pulled on his beard. At last he said, "Tell me, my poor man, do you have any animals, perhaps a chicken or 2? "Yes," said the man, "I do have a few chickens, also a rooster and a goose." "Ah, fine," said the rabbi. "Now go home and take the chickens, the rooster and the goose into your hut to live with you." "Yes, indeed, Rabbi," said the man, though he was quite surprised. The poor, unfortunate man hurried home and took the chickens, the rooster, and the goose out of the shed and into his little hut. When some days or a week had gone by, life in the hut was worse than before. Now with the quarreling and crying, there was honking, crowing, and clucking. There were feathers in the soup. The hut stayed just as small and the children grew bigger. When the poor unfortunate man couldn't stand it any longer, he again ran to the rabbi for help. "Holy Rabbi," he cried, "see what a misfortune has befallen me. Now with the crying and the quarreling, with the honking, clucking, and crowing, there are feathers in the soup. Rabbi, it couldn't be worse. Help me, please." The rabbi listened and thought. At last he said, "Tell me, do you happen to have a goat?" "Ah, yes, I do have an old goat, but he's not worth much." "Excellent," said the rabbi. "Now go home and take the old goat into your hut to live with you." "Ah, no, do you really mean it, Rabbi?" cried the man. Come now, my good man, and do as I say at once," said the rabbi. The poor, unfortunate man tramped back home with his head hanging down and the old goat into his hut. When some days or a week had gone by, life in the little hut was much worse. Now with the crying, quarreling, clucking, honking, and crowing, the goat went wild, pushing and butting everyone with his horns. The hut seemed smaller, the children grew bigger. When the poor unfortunate man couldn't stand it another minute, he again ran to the rabbi. "Holy Rabbi, help me," he screamed. "Now the goat is running wild, and my life is a nightmare." The rabbi listened and thought. At last he said, "Tell me, my poor man, is it possible that you have a cow. Young or old, doesn't matter. Yes, Rabbi. I do, it's true, have a cow, said the poor man fearfully. Go home then, said the rabbi, and take the cow into your hut. Oh, no, surely not, Rabbi, cried the man. Do it at once, said the rabbi. The unfortunate man now trudged home with a heavy heart and took the cow into his hut. Is the rabbi crazy? He thought. When some days or a week had gone by, life in the hut was very much worse than before. Everyone quarreled, even the chickens. The goat ran wild, the cow trampled everything. The poor man could hardly believe his misfortune. At last, when he could stand it no longer, he ran to the rabbi for help. Holy Rabbi, he shrieked, help me, save me, the end of the world has come. The cow is trampling everything. There's no room even to breathe. It's worse than a nightmare. The rabbi listened and thought. At last he said, go home now, my poor unfortunate man, and let the animals out of your hut. I will, I'll do it right away, said the man. Thank you, Mr. Miller. The poor unfortunate man hurried home and let the cow, the goat, the chickens, the goose, and the rooster out of his little hut. That night, the poor man and all his family slept peacefully. There was no crowing, no clucking, no honking. There was plenty of room to breathe. The very next day, the poor man ran back to the rabbi. Holy Rabbi, he cried, you have made life sweet for me. With just my family in the hut, it is so quiet, so roomy, so peaceful. What a pleasure. So, there are so many things that we can be thankful for. This is going to be the last Fire Pit Friday because summer's coming up, school's ending, but I will pick up, hopefully, back in the fall. So I look forward to meeting with you again, and until then, have a really wonderful summer. Savor every minute of it. Be outside, be active, be kind to everybody, be patient. And I'm so glad that you're my friends and that you've joined me for these Fire Pit Fridays. We'll see you soon. Have a great summer.